Breaking news from downtown Nairobi, where a massive landslide just occurred. This follows the heavy floods that is currently hitting Kenya. Unfortunately, 56 people have lost their lives and a dozen others injured. Many have been left homeless and are currently seeking refuge in camps. Many are wondering, are these the effects of climate change? Here is Amos with the full report.
Floods have wreaked havoc in Nairobi. It's now becoming a disaster. The most recent effect is a massive landslide in Kenyan area that has resulted in many deaths. The death toll is currently at 56 and more bodies are missing. Reporting live from Nairobi, Amos Cheruiyot, Guzman Pictures Television.
A sad story. Who wrote it? Now, I reside in Athi River area, but lately, I've heard the water speak to us like, "You should not be living here!" Athi River is a basin where Mbagadi River meets several other tributaries before flowing into the Tana River, which eventually goes to the Indian Ocean. Lately, I hear the floods asking me, "What exactly are you doing here?" What am I doing here? I'm being a capitalist. I need a job, and my job here is I am just working in a system that I fundamentally disagree with, but collectively, we Kenyans don't think there's a problem. Many don't want to know there's a problem, and most of all, we are all ruled by a political class which thrives on maintaining the problem. So really, I cannot answer that question alone. We have to answer it together. We have to answer it politically, not morally. It's not about that stupidity of Western versus African culture. It's about our failure to respect our environment as our ancestors did. And based on that, our failure to organize our economies and residences around the environment. I look at the map and tell myself, from Lolongo to Kitengela towards Namanga and around Athi River, there should be no permanent settlements here. There should be parks, and the most human activity that should be allowed here is grazing, growing food and having parks and festivals. Instead, more and more concrete is coming up. Factories are built along the river and you are polluting the area. On Thursday, when your estate flooded at the entrance, the water was smelling of sewage. You're not serious? From my experience, the problem isn't even institutional authorities like NEMA and Tana Athi River's Basin Authority not doing their work. That's the symptom of the disease. The disease is our refusal to think beyond what works, aka what makes us money. We don't want to work for the greater good, and worse, we don't even want to discuss the greater good because that is theory. In 2018, some of us were making noise about Crystal River's building on riparian land and even diverting the river. I suspect that they also used the river to construct that complex. Since that mall came up, the river dried up. Nduthis and pedestrians were even crossing the riverbed. In the olden days, the elders would have called that an abomination and would be pronouncing many curses. Instead, NEMA maintained silence. Meanwhile, a kilometer upstream from the river, raw sewage is dumped in the river, while on the banks, people are growing food. In the evening, the air is stinking from pollution from the factories, which wait until evening to release black smoke into the sky. And what is this voracious settler colonial streak that makes us want to rape our environment with concrete and grabbing? The same Sinton investments that built Crystal River's mall complex also built Green Park Estate, both along rivers in the same area. Why don't we bloody leave the rivers alone? Why can't we just put a place for people to walk along the river, sit on the benches? Must we have everything, even nature itself? I mean, I also look at people building mansions in Karura and I wonder, What is wrong with us? Why not leave the trees alone? This is a fundamental problem of the soul. We hate anything that doesn't display the damage of the Midas touch of capitalism. That's why our politicians couldn't leave Uhuru Park alone. The idea of flowers and trees having their own space, of people coming to sit, play, stare into each other's eyes without thinking of politicians really annoyed politicians. They had to put up lane, a fence, a whole lot of junk before even talking of a disco. This is a spiritual disease. That's why I feel that talking about NEMA and government and bribes is no longer helpful. We've said that again and again and again. When we define the abuse of the environment as the failure of government, we are defining the problem as bureaucratic, when really, this is a spiritual problem. The real problem is that it doesn't bother us that we're doing this to the earth. I wish we would shut up about government, because the government is the problem. The government is designed to block us citizens from seeing the problem with our economic, political, and environmental arrangement. We need to talk about us, the people, what we believe that we should do economically and politically to stop offending the gods and treating the land like this. But we all said that is theory, meaning we don't want to change anything. So, I'm stuck in Athi River.